Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we've had a problem.
Hey there folks, welcome you all to podcast number 8. I apologise in advance once again if you hear seagulls flying by, if there's the noise of a fan coming through. I have tried to make the sensitivity of the microphone, but it is so hot, people. I can't begin to tell you how hot it is in this room. The one downside of the new studio, people, it gets very hot in here. I get the sun at the back of the house, which is great because the garden's there, obviously. But I get the sun from at the back of the house from midday all the way through to nighttime. And this room doesn't actually have shades. It's got curtains, but no shade I can pull down or anything. And plus, I don't want to pull a shade down because it will then block the lighting. I don't want that. I like good lighting, people. With my complexion, actually, dim lighting suits me better. I think you'll find. Flagons up to you all. It is, in fact, Flagons Up Friday. We have much to talk about, people. Just very briefly, because I know you all love to hear about my exercises through the week. It's what you tune in for, isn't it? So I've had a cracking, I've had a mega busy work week, but I've had a cracking I've had a cracking exercise week. I've done, where were we? It was Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. I did in each of those days, I did a 2-hour gym session, all weights, tiny weeny bit of cardio skiing machine, which is great for burning off stuff right at the end of the workout, but mainly just weights and that's that, and some sit-ups and stuff, but weights mainly. So 2-hour sessions 3 times a week, and then on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I've been doing my 10Ks. So since Sunday, I've done something that's burnt off in excess of, around 1,000 calories pretty much. It's probably about 1,100 to 1,200 calories for the workouts, and it's about 900 and something calories for the runs. So, yeah, really chuffed with that. I want to get into this routine of, Saturday's my day off. I'm having me flagons, people, and I won't be doing any exercise on a Saturday. So, yeah, that's my routine that I'm looking to keep up. I'll be doing 3 runs a week, 3 big gym sessions a week, and still watching what I eat to keep the blubber off, people. So yeah, that's been fantastic. It's the first proper full week I've done of that. I mean, to be fair, I couldn't have done the gym before now because they were shut with lockdown, and there's still intermittent lockdowns happening all over the place at the minute. So I mean, it seems to be easing up a bit. Don't seem to be hearing as much of them now, but the countries are getting locked down again, aren't they? So hopefully we're not going to get hit as hard as we did the first time around, because we should be clever enough to lock bits down, if not everything down, sooner again. So hopefully it won't come to that. Unfortunately, there's not a great deal we can do other than keep shutting areas off, locking things down in sections, just to, if it's blowing up in one area, we just lock it down a little while, just let things calm down again. And I think that's the best we can do until a vaccine or... Well, I think we've already seen better, drugs that already existed that are capable of saving lives that are actually heavily affected by it. We've seen that already with a drug that came along. They tested it, and I think it had something like a 30% increase of help rate or something like that. Might have been more, but I think it was 30%. Would have saved, like in our figures at the time, it would have saved about 5,000 people because it would have helped them through the condition that they had. So those sort of things I think may come thicker and faster than an actual vaccine. But I'm hoping that maybe a vaccine will come early next year. But, we've never had a coronavirus vaccine anyway, of any coronavirus type. So, we can't bank on it. And even if we do create one, what's to say it won't mutate and become, different? Then the vaccine won't help. So, we are living in a different world by all accounts, people. Anyway, I digress, people. We've got plenty of gaming stuff to talk about. Flagons up to you all. We're going to have we should have a double dip like last week. It's ice cold, people. Ice, baby. Oh, that'll do us for now, people. That'll do us for now. Blimey, I struggled to put it on me mat there, people. Right, shall we crack in? Now, the number 1 topic for this week has actually become the number 2 topic of this week, because little did I know, they kind of go hand in hand, because Microsoft did confirm the month of their launch of the console. However, today I heard on the IGN Daily Fix this morning that an actual date might have actually leaked. And can I put the word actually in there anymore, people? So, according to a controller warranty, was it? Hang on a sec. Controller warranty packaging don't display until after the November. Yeah. So there was a couple of places where it may have leaked out. One of them was a controller warranty packaging don't display till after November 5th or 6th. I can't remember which one it was, but after 5th, I think it was. So meaning the 6th. And there was another one where. Oh no, that was it. Yeah, there was one that had a warranty page. I think somebody had stumbled on, which was saying that this warranty runs out in a year's time. So it said this warranty is valid until 5th of November 2021, which suggests that it is a 6th of November launch. And then the second one was that someone had leaked. It was part of a packaging for a controller that said, do not display this controller until after the 5th of November. So if those are valid places of pictures that we got, then I think we've got our release date for the Xbox Series X. It looks like it might be the 6th of November. So that's awesome. Right at the beginning of November, right after the US election. So if Trump gets in again, people will need something to look forward to. So I think that happens on the 3rd, doesn't it? So come on, Democrats, come on. Not that I've got any preference to look. I don't mind if it's a Democrat or a Republican. Can you just get rid of Trump though? You know what I mean? Anyone else, people, it's fine. You know what I mean? Just throw anyone else up there, but not Trump, please. Come on. So moving on, let's leave politics out of it, people. Shall we? I love these screenshots I've got for you today. They're awesome. We'll get on to Halo in a bit though. So I was super stoked to hear this morning on that Daily Fix that it looks like that's leaked. The thing that's I'm going to take a point from later on, actually, that I had further down, which was about the leaked controller itself, that has accidentally, well, we already knew it was coming anyway, but it's accidentally announced that there is an Xbox Series S, and it is called an Xbox Series S, and it looks like it's going to be white because the controller's white, and it looks like that the controllers were, it seems that they might have been stolen as part of some looting that went on in the riots that were kicking off in America. And on the side of the packaging of the white controller, it said Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S compatible or something like that. So it looks almost, 99.9999999 infinity% proof that there is an Xbox Series S. What that is, we don't know. Is it like the PlayStation 5 where it is simply a diskless version? I suspect not. I think it will be a cut down version, as in maybe it's 8 teraflops as opposed to the Series X's 12 teraflops of power. Now, I'll tell you what will be really interesting. What will be really interesting and will really, kick off for me, and along with the fact that Halo has happened, and we'll talk about it in a minute, I think that's a massive boost for the Xbox Series X as a console, or even as a range of consoles, if you take the S into it, because if the S is 9 teraflops, and that's what or 9 point blah teraflops, and that's what the PlayStation 5 is, you've basically got Microsoft with two consoles, one of which is the same as the PS5 and the other is more Uber. That's not taking the architectures into account. We've still got to see what those architecture differences are when we get down to the nitty-gritties of Digital Foundry doing their magic. But I think that's great. I think it's exciting for Microsoft. I think if they come out with a lower console that's the same as the PS5 and it's quantified as the lower console, I mean, it's not bad for the marketing aspect of things, is it? And when we get a couple of years down the road and those big exclusives hit for Microsoft, it's going to be epic. It's going to be really. I'm really excited for Microsoft this gen. I really am. Even though an awful lot of the stuff trickling through may seem negative, I don't think it is negative. I think it's positive. And you have to. When we'll get to talking about Halo now. But I'm super excited that we've got a 6th of November launch date. We think. It certainly looks like, to have two leaks of information like that, which both look pretty valid, to be fair. I think that's probably, I mean, they can change it. They could change it if they wanted to on a whim, but I think they've got it in place. I think they know when they want to launch. I think they want it to be as early in November as possible. right after the election seems fair enough. And why would you wait late into November anyway, unless you really had to? So, and you certainly it'd be interesting to see what PlayStation do on the back of that. Are they gonna launch at the same time? Are they gonna wait a week? Are they going to wait 2 weeks? I mean, last time I think there was 2 weeks of a difference because Microsoft launched at the tail end of October. And then, I think it was like October 20 blah. And then, and PlayStation launched the second week of November, I think it was. Something like that. Or the tail end of the first week. So there was a couple of weeks difference. I'm almost positive there was. I don't think they want to be too close together. I think PlayStation would be reluctant of it, but you don't want to release at such a quick time after the first one that there's no real impact for yours. So it'd be really interesting to see what they both do. But obviously the big thing is going to be pricing. And I think Microsoft are holding a bit of a hand there that might top PlayStation. Because if they come in with an Xbox Series X that's the same price as the PS5, but their lower end model is cheaper and it's the same power as the PS5. I mean, it's a pretty big one, that, people. Pretty big one, that. And I still think at the moment, in fact, I think now, because Xbox One X is my favourite console, unless it's an exclusive on PlayStation, I still think that third party place to play your sorry, I can't speak today, people. The place to play your third-party games is on the Xbox for me at the minute. With the Xbox One X has the biggest power, and for me it just feels a bit more comfortable on there for my third-party stuff. The controller's a little bit more. I've talked about controllers before. That they have plus and minuses, all of them, but for me the one that's closest to perfection is the Microsoft one, and all they need to do is just drop those stick lengths a little tiny bit for me, because third person games are just very they're very sensitive. It's great for first person, but yeah, I think if Microsoft can pull that off, if they can pull off that they've got the big Uber machine, the Series X, and it's at the same price as the PS5, and then you've got the one underneath that is the same power as the PS5 but less, that is going to be massive for me. And I haven't seen PlayStation show me anything that for launch day that would make me, if I'm getting both anyway, people, you know I am, but if I was someone that had to choose, I don't think PlayStation have shown me anything for day one that I have to have on day one. I mean, people keep going on about Spider-Man. That's not a proper game. It's like a DLC, that. And frankly, it's not. I mean, I know Miles Morales has been in the comics and it's, it's been kicking around for ages, but for me that isn't a big launch title. It's a DLC for a Spider-Man game that's already out. And if you buy I think what they were doing was you can buy the PS5 version of Spider-Man and it'll come with Miles Morales, I think. That's how they're pushing it. And I'm pretty sure that Miles Morales will play on the PS4. I'm sure that was announced. So it's not an exclusive anyway, because you can still play it on the PS4. So we've still yet to hear from PlayStation what their big exclusive is for day one. Because they've not told us anything. They've shown us loads of footage of games that look fantastic, but they've not shown us what we're going to get at launch. For me, I'm still hoping it's going to be Demon's Souls and Ratchet and Clank. That those are the two that I would love. But I can't see Insomniac kicking off with the launch of a. Well, yeah, that's the thing. You're not going to launch a console with two exclusives from the same company. Like Insomniac are doing both, aren't they? They're doing Ratchet and Clank and Spider-Man. You're not going to have both those games launching on the same day, surely. You might, I mean, if they're both ready, and one's technically a DLC maybe, but it's going to be really interesting. Demon's Souls I'd love to come out on PS5 on launch. That'd be amazing. I mean, I've still got a really good vibe that might be the case, Outside of that, though, we didn't see any real gameplay footage, did we? It was all kind of... It was that big epic opener that just ended with Demon's Souls. So maybe that sages off and I'm just getting overexcited for no reason. No one has still shown anything to do with Elden Ring and from Software, which is we assume some sort of Demon's Souls-esque type game, but it was done in conjunction with George R. R. Martin got involved with the story. The guy that did Game of Thrones and all that, he got involved with the story and the world and stuff at some point. I still feel like that game is miles off, which is why we're not hearing about it. Everybody seems to think that's closer than everyone seems to think it's quite close. I seem to think that that's still like years away. It seems like we only heard about George R. R. Martin pitching up at the studios like a year ago, and like, why would you be pitching up at the studios a year ago if you were not just starting a game? Like, what, you wouldn't bring somebody in after you've built the world and the story, surely. So I feel like Elden Ring might be a little bit far off. But then it's been quite a while since we've had a From Software game, hasn't it? I mean, it was Sekiro, yeah. From Software's last one was Sekiro, wasn't it? So it's been a few years since Sekiro, and I'm pretty sure it would have been a different team making Sekiro than made Dark Souls 3, I would have thought. I'm still hoping we get a Bloodborne 2, but the last I heard, which was again about a year ago, we never got any hint of... Well, no, there was a story that... It was an interview with somebody. There was an interview with somebody at From Software who said, "Oh yeah, that's it's actually PlayStation's title. Like they own the rights to Bloodborne. It's not From Software that own them. We just made the game, so it's up to them to say, can you make us another Bloodborne? It's not up to From Software to just make one." And at that point in time, PlayStation had not asked them to make a second one, which that's just bizarre to me, considering how bloody good it was. So there's my thoughts on the release date leak. I think the 6th of November is a great date. It means you just got to get your... I mean, it's an extra payday as well for people. You get the October pay. If it came in October, you've got like one less payday to kick in before you buy, isn't it? So like very beginning of November, you've had an October payday as well. You can clock up your money a bit more and then kick the month off people with a brand new console. Now, moving on to the other big news, which is one of the bravest decisions I've ever seen from anyone, anywhere, that's ever released a console or done anything to do with games as a company. I think this was a massively brave decision. I think it was the right decision, and I think it will not impact the sales of the Xbox Series X for me. I think maybe they'll lose a few sales because there might have been some people that wanted to play Halo at launch, and now they're thinking, well, why bother? But for that argument, Halo was always going to play on the Xbox One X anyway. The Series X, people were excited to see the new gen of... So whatever I said there, Siri thought I said something. Yeah, so I don't think it's going to... I mean, if you can play it on both platforms anyway, why would that make you buy an Xbox Series X anyway? It makes no sense to me. So I just don't feel like it's going to impact it. I don't think people that went to PS4 the last gen or this gen are going to be swayed to go back because of Halo Infinite. I just don't see it because they've got an entire library of PS4 games. It would have to be, for me, the people that they lost last time will move back if they're not particularly bothered about PlayStation exclusives as such. And they just want the happiest place to be in, the best place, the best performance, the best online structure, perhaps. Stuff like that might influence people. I don't think it'll be because Halo Infinite was delayed. I think if people wanted to move, if people want the most powerful console and they want to do their third-party gaming on the most powerful console, I think they'll still move over to Xbox and do that. As I say, I've not seen PlayStation show us anything that would make those people stay for any particular reason. I mean, I know there was a huge amount of like Destiny players and stuff that all switched over to PlayStation at one point because they were so fed up with the power of the Xbox at the time and Xbox One. An awful lot of those players, I mean, I know some of them had actually kind of wanted to move back to Xbox once they'd sorted it out with the Xbox One X and stuff. And there was already a switch at that point because, yeah, most powerful console, yeah, patches to Xbox One X enhanced, backward compatibility. These, like, without Halo, there is still a gazillion more games at launch to play on the Xbox Series X than there is on the PlayStation 5 because they have already said that your entire backward compatibility library that you already have, plus thousands of more titles that are getting added to backward compatibility, are going to be available at launch. PlayStation have said nothing to do with that. And the last thing I need is a PS3, a PS4, and a PS5 in my living room. I've already got a PS4 and a PS3. I've got a PS2 in the attic. So I don't need to be having 3 consoles in me bloody lounge because they've decided that, oh, well, not all your games will work until about 3 years' time. You know, give over. Sort it out. Like, how could you not have foreseen this is what was needed at launch? I understand we've been through a pandemic and stuff, but they must have been planning these consoles for years. You know what I mean? Well, they have. They've been telling us they have. Anyway, for me, at the moment, and I said in my vlog about which one would I choose if I was forced to choose. Gladly, I don't have to choose. I would choose the Xbox Series X because I feel more comfortable that it's giving me everything that what I already have is going to play. It's going to play better. It's going to play sweeter. It's going to have more backward compatibility than I have already, which is great news. And everything's going to just, I mean, for me, it's just that. And then you've got Game Pass to throw into the mix as well, which I'm well starting to think it's something I'm gonna start doing. Because if I end up doing most of my gaming other than exclusives on the Xbox, I think I will absolutely go Game Pass way. Because especially, well, maybe, I don't know, day one, maybe not day one, but when those exclusives start kicking in, like Avowed and, you know, and Fable and stuff like that, when they all start coming through, why pay 50, well, it'd be like, why pay 60 quid for a game when it's going to be on Game Pass at launch? All their first party titles are on Game Pass at launch, $10.99 a month. Game Pass Ultimate. I still haven't found out whether Game Pass Standard, which is $7.99 a month, gets those at launch, or whether it's just Ultimate that gets those at launch. I would have thought it has to be Ultimate that gets them, otherwise what would be the purpose of Ultimate? Because I don't think the other perks of Ultimate are particularly Uber or anything. I still haven't found the answer to that out. But when it comes back, going back to Halo itself, they got a mixed reaction, right? But nobody was like, holy shit, how amazing does that look, right? So that's your first problem, because if this is your flagship game, it's like, well, shit, nobody's getting overly excited. It's like, oh yeah, okay, yay, we can play Halo again. And a new story and stuff, but really, that game needs to be blowing people's socks off, and it didn't. Did it look awful? I didn't think it looked awful. I think it just looked like a current gen game. I think it looked like something I could play now on the Xbox One. I think what people wanted was something where they were like, shit me, next gen looks amazing. And also, it was quite, well, firstly, they didn't even show it on an Xbox Series X. It was on a built-up PC that was of a similar spec. And then that in itself kind of cries out, well, people were moaning about the pop-in. They could see graphics popping in as the Master Chief was going up the lift thing that he went on and stuff. The mountains were popping in as it went. That sort of stuff's supposed to be getting ruled out now, certainly on the Series X, because you've got all this super fast SSD RAM and architecture going on that means there's next to no loading time. So what's going on there? And I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that I think they built that game on the Xbox One X, maybe, or Xbox One, because they're making it backward playable as well as forward. I think they constructed it on the original, well, on the current Xbox, and now they came to show it off. They hadn't put any of the features in that are meant to be there for the Xbox Series X, so it just kind of looked like a bog standard game for the Xbox One X. And also, because you've made it an open world experience, well, I mean, it's not, I don't think it's as open world as like, you know, Skyrim, but it's still an open world shooter. Though we know that if you make, the more open world you make something, the more difficult it is to make everything crystal crisp and really sweet graphics wise. We know this. Like, if you're going to use your power to make a big world, you have to reel it back in with the graphics on other things like the character models, or, you know. This is why single player short campaign games look spectacular, but the minute, you know, you compare it to something that's open world with a similar graphic dynamic, it's not anywhere near as pristine as that, because you just can't have the best of both worlds. So there might have been a bit of that to play in it as well. But all of that aside, why would you show off that game when you've got none of the next gen elements being, well, none implemented, and you're not using any of the power of the next gen console or even showing it on your next gen console, and it all felt a little bit like they felt rushed. They felt like they had to push it out. They felt like they promised it for launch. They had to show something because it's getting so close now, and I feel like when they got the feedback they got, and they must have had multiple meetings afterwards. I think they basically, I mean, they've not even given a date. They've not even said spring. They've not even, for me, if you have to wait a year to get that game spectacular, then just fine. You want your flagship game to be all it can be. And for me, it was a really brave decision. It was absolutely the right decision. And, a poor game released on time will always be poor. I mean, you could patch it, but it's never going to be up to the standard that you would want it to be. But a delayed game can be everything you want it to be because you're given the time to make it special. So I'm actually really proud of them. I was in my heart. I was thinking after that show off and after the reaction that it got, in my head I was thinking, if they hadn't promised it. For about 2 years, they've been promising it was going to be there at launch. If they hadn't been doing that, I think they would absolutely have kept pushing it back until it was ready. But because they were absolutely adamant they wanted this game to release with the console, I think it's taken to the final hour to suddenly say, look, we need more time. We need more time to make this special. And for me, I mean, why even bother releasing it if you have not had time to put the next gen elements in anyway? Like, it's like buying a car with 3 wheels. Well, we didn't have time to put the third wheel on, but you'll be right. You know what I mean? Like, what are you on about? Finish it and then I'll buy it. So yeah, I'm really happy that they've delayed it. I really am, and I'm hoping that I've actually got more excited about Halo after all the Halo talk and chit chat and everything. And it actually spurred me on to reinstall the Master Chief Collection because that also had issues when they brought that out, and they've done nothing but patch it and update it. And the update for that trilogy is incredible. And then also they released add-ons which were for ODST and Reach, which I downloaded last night. They're only like $3.99 and $6.99 a piece. You could have got them on Game Pass for nothing, but I've actually reinstalled that because I never played the Master Chief Collection all the way through. I've played all the Halos obviously on the old consoles, but I've actually got a buzz for Halo again because of all of this. I got a buzz for it after seeing the gameplay, and the music and the vibe and the world and the Halo ring and all that. I've got a real buzz for it again. So if anything, that footage that we saw has actually got me super excited for it again. And I'm absolutely of the opinion that I don't want a game that's 3/4 done. Like, I'll wait and I'll play other Halo stuff until it comes along. In fact, I wouldn't mind my idea is that I'm going to play through them in order of timeline, I think. So I'm going to go with that plan and play through them all so I can feel the story again. Can't remember half of it anyway. And just crack on through it all and finally play 5, which I know didn't get the best reception because of its story and the fact you didn't play as Master Chief for a lot of the game. But I still want to experience it just to see if there is any little connections to it in Infinite. Now, here's another thing with Infinite. I was chatting to Aaron Brew, my son, and he was of the opinion he'd seen an interview with one of the head guys from, not Bonnie Ross. Is it Bonnie Ross? Not Bonnie anyway. But another guy who was one of the head developers or something saying that this was like a final Halo game that is going to be continuously added to. And I joked with him saying, what, like Windows 10? And that's why it's got the title Infinite. So it's going to become more of a Destiny type thing where it'll get constant updates with new story and stuff to do. And I don't think that's a bad idea, to be fair. I don't want it to turn into an MMO as such, but I don't see any reason why, Infinite's a great word for it. It's a great title if that's what you're going to do with the story. So, in every 2 years you get a brand new campaign. The multiplayer is always there and it's free to play anyway. So I think it's great. And it means that your flagship title just keeps cruising through the entire generation, as opposed to having to keep coming up with, Halo 25, Halo 26. It's like, why not do it that way? But if you're gonna do it that way, get it right when you do the first one. Otherwise, people will lose interest. So yeah, I'm really chuffed. Somebody can confirm with me in the comments below if that's right, what I've just said about Halo Infinite being a sort of Destiny update type thing, where it's just going to be fed new campaigns and new story and new gear and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, anyway, I'm really glad they've done it. Really glad they've done it. So, I for me, it's not going to have a huge impact on the launch. I don't think Halo Infinite would have brought anyone one way or the other anyway. I think if you were an Xbox fan, you're still going to buy an Xbox. It won't in a game in itself have pulled people back from PlayStation, in my opinion. I think the games that will do that are your Avoweds, your Fables, and all the other things that are going to come along from all these studios that they bought that are making the new AAA titles. I am so excited I keep saying it, but I'm so excited for Xbox this time. They've got the console absolutely spot on. They wanted to be the most powerful console again. They made that happen with the One X. They're now making it again happen with the Series X. And I think it's just we're a couple of years out from spectacular games. Can't wait for them. And in the meantime, I'm just going to have the best experience I can with the gazillion titles and backward titles and new titles, third-party titles that they're going to bring us on the Series X. So I'm really excited for them. And that's not me being an Xbox fanboy or anything. I still love PlayStation. I'm still going to have my PS5. I'm still really looking forward to whatever exclusives are going to come my way in that particular environment. But I don't know. I've just got a buzz about the Series X this time around. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We're going to see. I might change my mind when we see these Digital Foundry compares coming in, people. So there you are. There were another few things that, anyway, let me know in the comments below whether you thought that Halo Infinite delay was a good or a bad thing. I might try and stick while I'm editing all this together and doing what I do to get this up to you guys. I'll post up a little community poll and get this answer off you as best I can. But you can let me know in the comments below as to whether or not you thought that the delay was a good thing or a bad thing, whether it made a difference to you buying day one or not. And, let me know about anything I'm talking about, people, in the comments below. I'll probably say it again at the end of this video. A few smaller things that came along. We talked about the Xbox One S controller, so that's kind of been leaked. I mean, to some extent, it's like, why on earth? Like, you've got all of this stuff leaking out, and I'm not saying it's anyone's fault, but you've got all this stuff that's dripping out, and you know it's dripping out, and you know that nothing you say now is going to be a surprise or an excitement. Why not just do it and tell us just tell us. Xbox should just do another event really quickly in the next week or so and say, blah, blah, sorry about Halo, and then here's the two consoles, here's the prices, here's the launch date, let's get ready to rumble. Just do it. Get the buzz back now that Halo's delayed till 2021. Get the buzz back. Get the two consoles shown. Get the prices up there. Make PS5 work for their next event. Because Microsoft must know what price level is going to push Sony to the brink. Because Sony don't have the deep pockets that Microsoft have. So, I think the reason that Microsoft are holding off is because they want that lower end console. Because they know it's probably the same teraflop power. They want that lower end console to be the same price as the PS5 and prove that the Series X is the most powerful console in the universe. Yes, because we all know it, people. Anyway. Yes, we got an announcement that Suicide Squad is the next game from Rocksteady, and they are the people that did Batman Asylum and Batman Arkham Knight and Batman Arkham City. Yeah, it was Origins they didn't do. Yeah. So they did that trilogy. And everyone's been wondering what on earth they've been on with. There were rumours it was going to be some kind of Avengery type, Justice League type thing. And it has turned out to be the Suicide Squad. And it was they just posted an image of Superman. It looks like Superman's going to be a baddin and Suicide Squad have got to take him down because he's just this all-powerful being. You can't really play as Superman because he's too powerful. So anyway, super excited about that. I've never been well, I don't know. I say that. I mean, I'm just excited when Rocksteady do anything because they're really, really good. But yeah, the Batman games have always been great. Bit too much fight tanks in your car action in the last one, to be fair. You know what I mean? It was fun, but, you know, I don't want to be forced into my vehicle every 3 pavements. And that was too... Nobody has that many tanks, people. I don't care how bad they are. No one has that many tanks. Nobody has that many tanks. But it's still an amazing game. I still haven't finished it, actually. There's a shocker, eh? So, yeah, super excited about that. And here's a slightly annoying one. It wound me up a little bit, right? And I'm a big fan of Remedy. Oh, you saw me bare knee there, people. Got me shorts. I've got shorts on. I'm not sitting in me pants, people. I have got shorts on. Pants. If you're American, pants here is your underwear, people. Your underwear. We wear trousers. You wear pants, and God knows what you're wearing under your pants, but. We wear trousers and pants, people, or shorts and pants, anything in pants. Or you can call them boxer shorts if you want. Right, where was I? Before I was rudely interrupted by a topic of, of my underwear. We were talking about, yes, Remedy. So it turns out, right, and it looks like it's going to depend on the software developer, but they're basically saying that if you want the ubered up version of Control for the PS5 or Xbox Series X, you're not going to get it if you bought the original game Control. You have to buy the Ultimate Edition, which is coming out around now. Well, I don't know if it's now. It's not far away anyway. But there's an Ultimate Edition, which I assume's got all the DLCs and stuff on it. And again, I was so close to finishing that game, and I haven't finished it. It's an easy one to jump back into, though, so I may well do that soon. So I find that a little bit frustrating as a fan that supported that game at launch and paid out that money already. Why do I have to buy an Ultimate Edition of the game again to get the ubered up version for the PS5? Like, can I mean, I understand, right, that it's developer time to uber a game up and make it better for another console. I get it, I do. And maybe this will happen, but sell me a £5 upgrade or a £10 upgrade. Like, sell me something that patches my game and makes it that game. Don't ask me to buy a whole new £40, £50. In fact, on the new gen, it's probably going to be about £50, £60. Don't ask me to buy another full version of the game. Like, sell me, or, you know, not even a patch, just sell me a... If I put my disc in... Well, I don't know how they would do it with discs right enough. It would have to be a patch, wouldn't it? But whichever way you do it, they could just register that you've bought the upgrade for that game, and as long as you've got the game installed, it would add that and know you've got it, and you'd have the better version of the game. Like, why can't we have that? I mean, unless it's fundamentally rewritten in places so that a patch is too difficult. But even then, if you bought a patch, it could say it's going to download a whole new version of the game for you. So your disc, much like backward compatibility on 360, doesn't actually play from the disc. It just instigates the download of the better version because it knows you've paid that £10 to have the better version. I'd be more than happy with that. I don't mind paying a little bit of extra money to have an ubered up version of a game. Just don't ask me to buy the whole thing over again. That's all I'm asking. Because that's just taken us back into the fecking territory we were in this time. And they're just calling it something else. You know what I mean? Like, we've had a whole generation of remasters. And I mean, there were certain games I caved in on, and I did quite a few remasters, to be fair, because they did look spectacular, a lot of them. And they were just excuses to get new trophies as well. But I don't want to go through that rigmarole again with this gen. Not now we've got backward compliance. You know, remasters, they got away with it because of the backward compliance thing. But... you know, I just think it's a bit much to ask us to buy the whole thing all over again, people. I really do. I'm going to have a swig of my beer, people. You know, cheer myself up again. I still feel like, though, I think the default versions of games will still... certainly on the X, they've already said this on the Series X. They will, by default, just play better because of the extra power. But, you know, if you want the super spectacular version of that game on the next gen, then... you know, they have to provide patches and upgrades and blah. And that's fine. You know, as I say, just ask me to buy a little upgrade for it, and I'm more than happy to give you more money to get the better version of that game. No problem at all. But it winds me up if you're going to ask me to buy it all over again, like the whole remaster thing. And you can, well, I mean, I suppose, like, because it's interesting, isn't it? If you upgrade it, or if you take a newer version, do you get new trophies with these ones, or is it the same trophies from the last ones, or is there a PS5 and a PS4 version, a Series X version and an Xbox One version, or is it simply patches? We don't really know. It's a really grey area as well. So I guess we won't know until we go forward. But I certainly don't think I'll be buying. I'm not going to go out and buy a PS5 version of a whole bunch of PS4 games I've already got. Or same on the Xbox Series X. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do that. I think, and I mean, it's because they're doing forward and backward compatibility. Like certainly Miles Morales and Halo, had it come out, were going to be playable on both sides. But in the old gen, it was like, well, you want to do that, you need to buy the version that's relevant to the machine. Like, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, for example, there was a 360 version, but then there was also an Xbox One version. But they were separate. There were two different entities. But because of the whole backward compatibility thing, well, what does that mean? So, yeah, I don't know. It's getting a little bit fuzzy as to what it all means, really, when you're buying a PS5 version or a PS4 version that's then upgraded, or is it the same thing? Is it? I don't know. It's all very complicated, people. It's all very good, but my tiny mind can't cope with that, people. Cheers again. Yeah, if you've not got one of these, you should have one with me. It's got quite warm, actually. That's how warm it is in this room. It was ice cold when we started, people. Ice cold. Well, there you are. That's pretty much it. Let me know in the comments below about any of those topics that we've talked about this evening. And yeah, I mean, as always, I love it when you guys leave comments and I can feed back to you all and we can share opinions and such like. I'd be really, really curious to see what you guys think of that delay and as to whether or not you think it has any impact at all. Personally, I don't think it's going to have that big an impact. I think anyone who was remotely interested in Halo is slightly gutted that they're not getting it this holiday, but super happy that they're going to get a version that they can be proud of on that console. So I'm delighted they've done it. Really brave thing to do, and I'm proud that they're thinking of us rather than them, because they could easily have launched that game. And there was another thing as well. Phil Spencer did a little interview with someone I'm forgetting the name of, and after that, and he said they did consider saying that we'll release it in chunks, so you would get this part and then the next part, then the next part. He said, but we just didn't feel like it was fair on the consumer. Like, we want to give them a full fat game that they can be proud of, and that's exactly what they're doing. And that for me is fantastic, because they will without doubt be losing money this holiday because Halo didn't launch when they wanted it to launch, but they want it to be the best it can be. It's their flagship title. That and Gears of War are their two flagship titles at the moment, until we get these other exclusives coming along. So I'm delighted that they've done it. I really am. And I never thought they would. And it just proves to me yet again that Phil Spencer's top priority is to make sure that the fans are happy with the product, with what they're providing, with the hardware, with the software, with the Game Pass, with everything else. That man is a legend. I absolutely love that man. He's brilliant. Well, there you are, people. I've rambled on long enough. Let me know in the comments below about everything we've talked about. If you've got an opinion one way or the other, I'll put that poll up. I have noticed that these vlogs are by no means as popular as these podcasts are nowhere near as popular as the vlogs were. And I do think a lot of it is to do with the fact that I hadn't been putting in footage and making it interesting to look at rather than just my puff. So I will make a massive effort tonight to start introducing the footage of things that we're talking about again. So hopefully, as I've been rambling on, you'll have seen some footage and stuff popping up. To be honest, an awful lot of that was simply down to the fact that the way that I'd put all the graphical stuff together to make this look like a podcast with the frame around me, and I just hadn't got around to figuring out how I would do showing off the movie stuff. But I think I'll keep it simple, as you'll have seen by now, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed that footage being back there. And there you are. It has been an honour, as always, and a privilege serving for you in this podcast of mine today. And I'll see you all in the next one, folks. Take it easy. Bye.